All right. Can I have your attention, please? Good evening. Welcome to the City Council Committee of the Whole meeting of May 27th, 2025. If the clerk will help me with the roll call, please.
Albertini,
Here.
Brereton,
Here.
Flurry,
Here.
Frank,
Here.
Gramkowski, here, Hoynes,
Here.
McGee,
Here.
Montalbano,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
10 present.
Okay, under public comment, we have 3 individuals, I believe, registered. Tonight, first, we have Carl Johnson. Carl, good evening. Welcome. Just come up and state your name and address, if you don't mind, please.
Sir.
Thank you.
Good evening. Do I have to hold this down? Or?
It's on.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Carl Johnson. I live at 10500 Saddle Path Road in Belvedere, Illinois. I'm also here representing the county board. I'm the county board chairman in Boone County, and I'd like to thank the mayor for letting me speak tonight and for putting the county board building permit fees on your agenda this evening once again. I apologize. Last time I was here a couple weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, I guess, for the meeting, I didn't realize I needed to sign up for public comment, so apologize for that gaffe. Sometimes you don't know how the inner workings go. The reason we've asked for this to be on your agenda again is this is a big issue for us at the county, the building permit fees for not only our county courthouse renovation that's going on, but also for future projects that we have coming up. A bus barn, renovation at the administration campus, and other things. These fees, while the courthouse fee is around $200,000 that we've already paid, the other fees, just estimated, will total into about $350,000. That's, I don't think I have to tell anybody, that's a considerable sum of money. And when you're putting together a building project, you don't always, if you don't have that sum of money figured in there, it has to come from somewhere. So we have to cut things, we have to find other things, or whatever. What I'm here to do tonight is to ask that this committee, this council, please consider either significantly reducing that fee in the $10,000 to $20,000 range, perhaps even allow the county to do all the inspections, plan reviews ourselves, pay for those fees that come up in that plan review. We don't do in-house plan reviews, we send those out. And to get you an idea what plan review sending it out costs, we did our McKinley project, which is in the county itself, and sending out for plan review and things like that was around $3,000 to have that done on a $2 million project. Obviously the courthouse is a much bigger project, it's $12 million. But it's important that we work together on this. It's important that we work together as a community, both the county and the city, in all things, whether it's something like this, a construction project, whether it's working together to bring economic development to our community. We have to be symbiotic. Anytime we aren't, it just puts a bad front forward. We've done a lot of investigating on what other communities do, and most communities do not charge each other these kinds of fees. Sometimes there's some fees for some much reduced fees. I think one community we checked with, there was a $100 to $400 fee that was paid to help cover expenses. We at the county certainly understand that there are some costs to the city, and we're willing to help share in some of that. However, we really would ask you to reconsider that $200,000 permit fee and the additional fees that will come on top of that for our other projects, and reduce that, because it is the whole county that's paying that, the whole county taxpayers. And these are much needed renovations that we've had. I've heard it asked in the past, what other fees have been charged before? We haven't ever been charged fees. But then again, the county doesn't do big building projects very often. I think 2009 was the last time we did a building project. And at that time, there were no fees charged. How that process went to come to that, I don't know. I wasn't chairman at that time. And there was a different mayor in office. So if those two talked, or the mayor and the chairman at the time talked, I don't know how that all went down. But we are asking for this. We're asking that you work with us on this, because these renovations at the courthouse, there's not a bunch of fluff here. There's not like we can say, well, let's just cut $200,000 out of the budget. Something important would have to go to come up with that kind of money. And we've waited so long to try and give this community a courthouse that it deserves, and one that's functional, and the ability to put all of our county functions inside that courthouse, to bring our public defender out of a office space that we've rented for years and bring that public defender to the courthouse. It's a huge help. Plus, there's renovations to the public safety building, which we share. We share a lot of those expenses together. So I'll still be here if you have questions. I'm happy to answer them when that comes up, but please consider making a motion to either eliminate or significantly reduce those fees to us. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Tom Wahlberg. Tom, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
evening.
Tom Wahlberg, 2248 Caronwell Drive, Belvedere, Illinois. Here also, like Chairman, representing the Boone County Board, on behalf as the Finance Committee Chairperson. Joining Mr. Johnson along with us tonight is Ms. Tobin, our County Administrator. And so we've got a lot of knowledge in the room here to answer any questions that you council members may have. Last time I was here, like I mentioned, like you'd be getting a letter. I thought it was a very detailed letter. Kind of went through the projects that we're thinking of coming for the county here, and I'm too is very interested in working together. I mean, I think the city of Belvedere and the county have had a beautiful relationship, over the years. Our staff, I mean, the men and women that protect our cities and our counties, work together, and we certainly want to continue that relationship. Nobody's suggesting that we do any different. Ms. Tobin had ran a letter, and we could get you a copy of that as well. I didn't think of that until now, but UCCI is United Council of Accounting Councils, where we surveyed many counties throughout the state, and this is kind of unique here, this situation we've got, and there was a lot of them that were nominal fees. There was a lot of them that were no fees, and so that's kind of, apologize for anything that might have happened in the past or throughout this process, certainly over the last couple months. That's not something that any of us wanted, but we're here tonight, try to be formally prepared, and but just help me in keeping Boone County beautiful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tom. All right, and we also have Michael Popalik. Mike, if you'd come up front, please. Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Yeah, my name is Mike Poplik, and March 26th, I suffered a heart attack. I happened to be in a restaurant, and Officer Gibson came up and started performing CPR on me. By the time they got there with the ambulance, I died. I was on the back of the ambulance for about 10 minutes or 11 minutes. They said I was dead. And they put the paddles on me, and I came back. If Officer Gibson hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here. I want to say thank you to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mike. And under public forum, we have item A, Police Life-Saving Award Presentation, and B, Fire Life-Saving Award Presentations. Chief Woody and Chief Shadle, you mind? Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, City Council, for giving us this opportunity to recognize all of our first responders here tonight for, once again, great work that our city has done. So I received a recommendation from Acting Shift Supervisor Anthony Jones regarding a life-saving award for both Matthew Korn and Matthew Gibson. His request was as follows. On March 26, 2025 at 10:28 a.m., Officer Gibson and Korn responded to wild... Is that a.m.? That's what I thought. p.m. I knew they didn't work day shift. Something wasn't right. Responded to wild cherries at 413 Southtown Drive for a report of an unresponsive 74-year-old male. Male was reported to be going in and out of consciousness and having difficulty breathing. Officer Gibson arrived within a couple of minutes of the dispatch going over the radio, was able to begin cardiopulmonary resuscitation, otherwise known as CPR. Officer Gibson was able to simultaneously gather pertinent information necessary for continuity of care. Officers Korn and Gibson further assisted the Belvedere Fire Department EMTs in prepping the male for further medical treatment and performing rescue breaths as necessary. The male was stabilized enough to be transported to UW Health in Belvedere, where he was in critical condition. After several weeks, the male was able to recover and was discharged from care. Officer Korn, please step up. Officer Korn, due to your quick actions, immediate response to a person in medical distress, you're able to assist in saving a human life. Your dedication and commitment to the Belvedere community is recognized and greatly appreciated. On behalf of the City of Belvedere and the Belvedere Police Department, you're hereby presented with this life-saving award, letter of appreciation, as well as your uniform ribbon. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Officer Gibson, please step up. Officer Gibson, due to your quick actions and immediate response to a person in medical distress, you're able to assist in saving a human life. Your dedication and commitment to the Belvedere community is recognized and greatly appreciated. On behalf of the City of Belvedere and the Belvedere Police Department, you're hereby presented with this life-saving award, certificate of appreciation, and uniform ribbon. Thank you, sir. Once again, as I've said before, and I'll say it again because it doesn't get old, can't tell you how proud I am of these officers as well as these EMTs and firefighters. Proud to be a Belvedere employee of the city. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Also appreciate the opportunity to reward these individuals for their dedication and their skill. And Mike, thank you for coming out. I appreciate that. One of the greatest joys and rewards we have in our job is when we see someone not alive and then they're alive. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Very well said.
So I also have a little write-up on March 26, 2025, approximately 10:30 at night. Personnel from the Belvedere Fire Department responded to an emergency at 413 Southtown Drive involving a 74-year-old male in respiratory distress who collapsed shortly after the call and was placed. CPR was immediately initiated by staff, and the responding Belvedere Police Department officers took over resuscitation on their arrival. Fire and EMS crews arrived quickly and performed a fast-paced, highly coordinated series of life-saving interventions. As a result of their skilled teamwork and immediate actions, this patient regained spontaneous circulations and respirations at 22:46. That's 10:46 at night. Hold your applause for the end when I give the individuals their certificates, please, but I'll just give you a little bit of information on what that looks like and what they did. So upon arrival, Matt Loudenbeck provided rescue breathing via the bag valve mask. Lieutenant Tangy was working on the 12-lead defibrillator. So he attached it and then also like Mike had said, he gave five defibrillations during that time. Zach Bullard, who couldn't make it tonight, he established interosseous access, and so that's what we do in codes. Instead of starting an IV, we use a drill, a bone drill. It goes in your leg, and then that way we can deliver the life-saving medications and fluid. Rasmus, he applied an automated CPR device. We're very fortunate in our community to have a Lucas device on our ambulance, both ambulances, and what that is you put that on the patient and then it takes over compressions and it doesn't get tired because it's a battery-operated machine. So, and then Lauren administered medications as well, and something that I saw in the report that I thought was amazing is that after Rosk was attained return of spontaneous circulation, she actually did a 12-lead EKG to see if he needed to go to the cath lab and bypass the local hospital. So that's pretty amazing. But the team executed all these interventions rapidly and effectively. Their actions contributed to saving a life. So I would like to first present to Firefighter Loudenbeck. Life-Saving Award, proudly presented to Matt Loudenbeck for cardiac arrest incident 25812 on March 26, awarded in recognition of exceptional bravery and swift action in a critical situation directly leading to the preservation of life. This honor reflects the recipient's unwavering commitment to service and selflessness. Thank you, Matt. Wait, don't go. All right. Lieutenant Travis Tangy. For cardiac arrest incident 25-812 on March 26, awarded in recognition of exceptional bravery and swift action in a critical situation directly leading to the preservation of life. This honor reflects the recipient's unwavering commitment to service and selflessness. Lieutenant? Life-Saving Award presented to Rasmus Gotcha. For cardiac arrest incident 25812 on March 26, 2025, award in recognition of exceptional bravery and swift action in a critical situation directly leading to the preservation of life. This honor reflects your unwavering commitment to service and selflessness. Life-Saving Award, proudly presented to Lauren Schultz. For cardiac arrest incident 25812 on March 26th, awarded in recognition of exceptional bravery and swift action in a critical situation directly leading to the preservation of life. This honor reflects your unwavering commitment to service and selflessness. All in the for initiating. It's like a pit crew, and you guys are all skilled and care and are quick and do a great job. So thank you.
Yeah. Excuse me. Don't sit down. And so, on behalf of the City of Belvedere, on behalf of myself, the mayor, and the City Council, I want to thank Officer Korn, Officer Gibson, Firefighter Loudenbeck, Firefighter Bullard, Lieutenant Tangy, Paramedic Gotchi, and Paramedic Schultz. Thank you so much. And actually, this one hits home. I was just having lunch last week with Mike Popalik. Mike's a friend of mine. He's also a good friend of other aldermen in this room, Alderwoman Gramkowski and Alderman Peterson and Alderman Stevens. And he's been a good friend of mine for quite a while, but I know that Alderman Peterson worked with him on the railroad. And Alderwoman Gramkowski's husband worked with Mike for a number of years on the railroad. So you never know who this is going to affect, and you never know how important it is going to be when somebody picks up the phone and they decide that they need help. And so I want to thank all of you personally and professionally for your actions that allowed Mike Popalik to be here tonight. And I know Mary is very grateful, his wife as well. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yep. All right, I am going to deviate if the council will allow me to, a little bit off of the agenda. I wanted to move, and I should have probably done this earlier, but under item 6B, Eagle Scout Project for Hometown Christmas, I wanted to move that up under public forum because we have our Eagle Scout, Charlie Beckel, here this evening, and his father, Matt Beckel. And in your packet is a memo from me dated May 20th of 2025 regarding Charlie's Eagle Scout project. I'll read it. Eagle Scout Charlie Beckel has approached the city for support for a Santa Claus house project that would benefit the city of Belvedere. The Santa Claus house would be used at our annual Hometown Christmas event. With that in mind, the city of Belvedere is being asked to contribute $2,500 towards this project, which will make not only a great Eagle Scout project for Charlie Beckel, but also a wonderful, long-lasting addition to our annual Hometown Christmas celebration. As the city of Belvedere will be the benefiting organization of this project, we will set up an account, which has already been done, thanks to Finance Director Turnipseed, an account for receiving contributions and keep any remaining funds after the completion of the project for any future maintenance of the Santa Claus house. As well, anyone interested in donating their time or resources for this project, please let me know. And so I wanted to recommend a motion to contribute $2,500 to the Santa Claus House Eagle Scout project to be paid for from line item 01-5-110-7900. If I could have a motion to that effect, please. Motion by Alderwoman Gramkowski, second by Alderman Stevens. Thank you both. And if there's any questions regarding the motion on the floor, feel free to ask and we'll try and answer. Alderwoman Frank.
Thank you. So how would we make contributions?
Pardon me?
How would we make those contributions through the city?
How would you make them? You could contact the City of Belvedere Finance Director, Sarah Turnipseed, and certainly make a contribution to that line item or to that fund that has been established. You're welcome. Thank you. So if there's any other question, Alderman Peterson.
Just one, Mayor. Is this going to be permanently downtown, or are we going to bring this in for the event?
It'll be, we'll keep that, more than likely it'll be staged over at the Leith Building, but then we will bring that annually to State Street. So, yes. Yep. Any other questions? Alderwoman Gramkowski?
Thank you. I don't have a question. I just think it's a great idea, and I think the kids are going to love it.
I think so too. I think it was a great idea. Thank you. All right, if there are no other questions, we have a motion on the floor. If there are no other discussions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Thank you. And moving to the next page, public safety, unfinished business, we have none. Public safety, new business, item A, police department update. Chief Woody, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you again. My update since last month, the police department currently has 5 police officer positions to fill. Officer Lee is currently in the field training process, and recruit officers Shook and Smaha are in week 4 at Sauk Valley Basic Police Academy in Dixon. We currently still have 3 officers on leave. This week, the police department will be conducting 4 peer interviews, 3 entry-level and 1 lateral applicant. We just received another 3 applications today that will have the written test scheduled. So far this year, we've accepted 31 applications, administered 19 written tests, completed 5 backgrounds, and hired 3 new officers. We currently have a list of 6 entry-level applicants, and Sergeant Ball will be starting backgrounds here in the near future. The next academy dates will be August or September, depending on which academies we send them to. Friday, May 16th, the police department supported Special Olympics by participating in Cop on a Rooftop. We had approximately 20 officers and supporters out at Dunkin' Donuts on Pearl Street from 5 a.m. to noon, and we raised over $2,500 for that very worthy cause. So, special thanks to all those that participated in that and to the officers that went up on the roof. We actually had some that were in donut costumes, so they went all out. They went all out this year. Fields Fastener Corporation donated a weight and rack system for our arms room to electronically measure all the ammo we have in the arms room, which allows our administrative Sergeant Deary to digitally monitor our ammo count and triggers notifications when ammo needs to be reordered. And I just wanted to thank Bill Deary for initiating this donation on behalf of Fields. And then last but not least, Perryville Pet Hospital is donating all the HeartGuard and NexGuard pills for both canines. If you remember, this is in addition to the $3,000 that the council accepted from Perryville Pet Hospital in March of 2024, which bought a bite suit for Solo and subsidizes our dog food each month. That completes my report, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Chief Woody? Feel free to ask. Okay. Thank you, Chief. Item B, Fire Department update. Chief Shadle, good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. In the past 30 days, the fire department has responded to 288 calls for service. Of those, 7 were fires, 202 medical calls, and of those, 188 were ambulance transports. Of those fires, those 7 fires, the first one was a mutual aid at Genoa Kingston. It was a barn fire. Next one was at 2nd Street, which I'm going to cover at the very end here. And then we were called the District 3 twice for house fires. And then we had another, it was a minor fire on Maple in town here, and another kitchen fire that extended up into the cupboards above the stove on Beaster. So in addition to that, a car fire. So news of the department, you guys all remember Miss Christine Gilman retired on May 15th. So thank you for coming to her send-off, and she had a great day that day, and she said it was a great party, and Kim made the cake for her. Kim's not here, but she does an amazing job with those cakes. So of the notable training, we always train almost every day except for Christmas, Easter, things like that. But notable training this month is we had the FBI Weapons of Mass Destruction came in town, and we had a countywide training, fire and law, for things, what you would see or what you'd expect to see to identify explosives. And then they also talked about like white powder letters, how to handle that, who to notify. They had a command level training in Cherry Valley that I attended as well, where they met with us and specifically when to notify them and things like that. So that was good information. And then lastly, for training, in District 3, we did our quarterly live burn. So we all get together in the county and train live burn scenarios. They have a burn tower. And so we practice together. Not only is it excellent training, but it also meets the requirements for the state for interior fire tech training. So the last thing I wanted to point out is the 2nd Street fire. And thank you, Attorney Drella, for getting it up there. In case he wasn't able to do that on the screen, I provided you a little handout. So, and working on 20 years in the fire service, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on fires, but I probably look at them differently than the normal person. So what I do first is, as soon as the engine arrives on scene and I hear the parking brake, I start a timer. And I see how long it takes before they deploy the hose and shoot water. And then I also look, well, where did they put the water? Understanding fire behavior, how long. Or a lot of times you'll see firefighters sit there and all this stuff is burning around them and they're in a safe position ready to apply water from the exterior, and they're sitting there and they put all their masks and their gloves and the SCBA all on when they're in a safe position where they could put out everything around the fire and then mask up and get closer. So those little things, those are the things I look at. And I had never seen this. So I was just extremely proud of the crew that did this. This fire came in on April 30th at 2 in the morning. And within 4 minutes, 102 was on scene. Our engines are a 3-person company, so we got a driver who operates the pump, officer, and then the backstep guy. So our hose lines normally are 2-person deployments, but we have a triple layer load that can be used and deployed by 1 person. If they skillfully stretch it all the way out, 1/3 of the length of the hose, and let it drop to its side, it will deploy just fine. And so they actually both did that on this fire. As you can see, it was in a unique position. It was potentially caused by batteries in a garage, but it was fully involved. And you see on the left, the house was on fire at the time. On the right, the house was starting to be on fire, and just adjacent to that garage, less than 6 feet away, was a wood garage. That exterior was on fire. And even the house behind it was starting on fire. So had they not done everything that they did, this would have been a bigger issue, a greater loss. And so Lieutenant Thornton directed firefighter Mitchell to deploy the line around front and attack the exposures and the garage fire from the one angle, and then he pulled the other hose line around the other way so he could start extinguishing the back of the garage and extinguish that other house right away. And I just never seen a apparatus get there with 3 firefighters and pull 2 lines. And I know every time, so our goal for parking brake to water going is under a minute. And so just knowing that probably happened, having 2 lines from 2 different angles from a single fire apparatus, 101 came in and tagged the hydrant and supplied water to 102. And basically, the garage was already a loss. Everything in it was a loss when they got there, but they saved everything else around it. And it was a great job, so I thought I'd just take a second and point that out. And that concludes my report. I thank you all for your time. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Shadle? Feel free to ask. I appreciate it, Chief. I'm sorry. Alderman Montalbano?
I thought that was a great job. That's in my ward. I walked over the next morning and looked at it. How you saved those homes and the garages that were so close to it is really unbelievable. There should be a award for that, because these pictures don't do justice. That garage was a disaster. That was a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And actually, that night, so we have a challenge coin, exemplary service award challenge coin. One is gold in color and the other is silver in color. And that crew all got gold exemplary award challenge coins that night.
Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other comments, any other questions? Feel free to speak up. Okay, thank you, Chief. You know, for laymen, I don't think we understand. It's a lot easier for me to understand if I see a photo. I visual learn, I guess, and but I do see where it could have been a disaster. You could have a lot more. You would have probably had to have mutual aid, and you would have definitely lost a lot more in homes and in maybe lives, you know, in property and lives, perhaps. So appreciate it. Thank you, and please thank the firefighters as well.
Will do, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on. Item 3, Finance and Personnel Unfinished Business. We have none. Item 4, Finance and Personnel New Business. We have none. Item 5, under Other Unfinished Business, we have none. Item 6, in your packet is a letter from Boone County Board Chairman Carl Johnson. That letter was in your packet. It's dated April 21st of 2025, addressed to myself and Belvedere City Council aldermen and women. That is on the agenda. I'm going to open the floor regarding the Boone County government permit fees, and the council is certainly free to act as they choose. Alderman Albertini?
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to make a few statements about this. One, I'd like to resolve this once and for all. I mean, it's gone on for quite some time now. What I understand is these fees will be paid for with taxpayers' money. I've talked to a few of the residents out in my ward, and the one thing they were complaining about is their taxes going up. Some of them felt that they bought these homes hoping to live there until they retired and died. Some of them feel now with the raising in taxes that they're going to have to sell their homes and move because of the amount of taxes. I don't know where they'd go. I don't think taxes are any less anywhere else. I mean, they're just pretty heavy. But these fees that are being charged to the county for these permits are going to cause them to raise taxes. I guarantee it. I just don't see the point, but they're a counterpart of the city. It'd be like them charging the city for all the property they own taxes. It just doesn't make sense. We wouldn't pay it, and there's no reason for it, and there's no foundation for it. I feel there's also not a good foundation for charging this amount of money. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to reduce the permit fees from $210,000 to $50,000. So I make that motion.
Okay, we have that motion. I want to be accurate here. Were the fees 210 or were they 211? Well, that's further, that's 211. Is that?
Sorry, 211 then.
211, okay. We have a motion then on the floor. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Fleury. All right, we have a motion on the floor then to reduce the fees, permit fees, in the amount of from the amount of $211,000 to $50,000. I'll open it up for discussion. Alderman Peterson?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just make the comment that the difference money then between the $50,000 and the $211,000 is going to be exclusively on the backs of the city taxpayers, because we're not going to be the exclusive beneficiaries of this, but we will be the exclusive ones funding this. And we'll be getting no other contribution. We're already contributing to it as county taxpayers. So, and I don't see this as being a revenue operation. This is not an enterprise fund from the city. This is, this is a pay-as-you-go basis. And I just don't think it's responsible to spend this kind of money and not provide for properly vetting not only the plans, but the blueprints and the final inspection. I mean, I think it's incumbent on us to protect our city taxpayers' investments by not causing them to have to pay costs that no other municipality in Boone County is paying. So I would be opposed.
All right, thank you. Alderman Fleury?
Thank you, Mayor. So I don't necessarily agree with reducing to 50. I don't know where that number came from, but I just want to know if there's a way to reduce it somewhat. So, I mean, like when we have our liquor license, it went from $10,000 to $20,000. Didn't cost us an extra $10,000 to do that. permit. So what are the, I guess, the bare bones things that it's not going to cost our taxpayers more, and we're not trying to make revenue on our counterparts, but what would be a reasonable number that the city can still do all the inspections and all the things they need to do to cover this cost? Is it actually 200,000, or could it be, you know, even 150 or some kind of reduction so that we can do all the things we need to do to permit it properly, but maybe not go over that amount? Is that a possibility?
Okay, well, we have a motion on the floor right now.
Right, so I'm asking, is there a way to know what these actual numbers are? Is it actual 200,000 and that's what it costs the city, or are some of those things just built-in revenue like we have with our other permits and stuff?
Well, I guess I don't know, because we have an arbitrary number right now that's a motion up for a vote. So I guess we would dispense with that motion, and I don't know what that number is, and I don't think the motion indicates that either. I don't think the motion that was made has any more idea than I do. But I will say this. I will say that the city of Belvedere taxpayers pay county taxes as well. County taxpayers don't pay to the city of Belvedere. And with that being said, as well, I don't know what they've done in the past, but I know Alderman Albertini points out that this has been going on so long. This has been going on since the county had come to the city council to finally ask for any type of a forgiveness. Now, in the past, and I've reminded the council this before, and I'll remind you again, is that in the past, what happened with the administrative building, they had asked through the administrator to the building department director to waive those fees. That was done, but as I had said before, that was, as far as I'm concerned, that was illegal. The mayor at the time, and I'm not throwing stones at the mayor, but the mayor never signed off on any of those, so if that's protocol, that was wrong. And wait a minute, let me finish. So, you know, the city of Belvedere, the mayor does not have, the length of time this has been going on, the mayor of Belvedere does not have the authority to authorize an invoice in excess of $15,000. And I certainly, and no mayor before me certainly had the authority to waive the building department fees for anybody unless they come to the council. This was never asked to come to the council. So as far as going on so long, you know, certainly not the city's fault. Now, the city of Belvedere has responsibilities, and they take responsibilities with the job that they have to make sure that the projects are done accordingly to whatever is bid. That's our responsibility. And we don't waive them unless the council waives them. We don't waive them for anybody else. And we shouldn't. But we certainly should be very careful with taxpayer money that Belvedere taxpayers are paying. They're already paying for an investment in the county. Remember, we pay taxes to the county as a Belvedere resident. But we also have obligations that we do a job that ensures that the project that we're going to sign off on shouldn't be waived. They shouldn't be waived by one individual, and that's why I would never waive them. And if the council chooses to waive them, that's their choice. But that's why we're here after, I don't know, all this time. I don't know what you're talking about all this time, because it had never come before the council before, prior. So anyhow, Alderman Peterson and then Alderman Fleury.
I would just add, Mayor, that Illinois famously has the second highest property taxes in the nation. And this kind of thing is an example of how we got here, I think, in terms of not making sure that what we build is absolutely 100% necessary and serves the constituents, but then playing fast and loose with how we pay for it and who gets stuck with a bill. And I think, you know, none of us were in the city were elected to find ways to have the citizens have to contribute extra taxes for anything.
All right, Alderman Fleury.
Right, so like I said, I agree to this motion so that we could have this discussion, but what I'm presenting going forward, is there a way that we can sit down with the county and like with the building director or the finance director or some, and their counterparts to talk about, is there a way to reduce this somewhat? Or is the cost actually $211,000? We need all that money to cover all of our costs. I don't know. That's why I'm asking, is there a way to sit down and look at things comparatively? Is there any cost savings, or is that the final number and that's what we're at?
Well, the only number I've heard is 50,000 right now. That's the only number. As far as me giving
Right,
you-
I know, I understand that
As-
you've talked about the past and how things were done incorrectly. I understand that. So I'm saying going forward, can we work as a partnership to see if there's a way to meet some common ground here, or are we just not going to work together at all?
Well, I don't know, but you have a motion on the floor right now, and that's a motion on hand. Now, as far as your hypothetical, I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. All I know is that we charge those fees as the building department. We charge those fees, and we don't waive them. The council can waive them, they can reduce them, but it is taxpayer money, in my opinion. Anybody else? Alderman Stevens?
I've talked to enough of people around the city, and they do not want to see us put a $200 and some thousand hole in our budget, nor do they figure out how we owe the county this at all.
That's up to the council.
Yeah.
That's up to the council. So, Alderwoman Frank?
Thank you. The way I understand it, we don't know what those fees are, right? Because we don't know how many times we'll have to go to the courthouse to do the inspections. Is it the building inspections, electrical, and plumbing?
All the fees, structural, electrical, any mechanical, all those fees are, we have a number. There is a number that the city calculates and that we charge. Obviously, we do. We have to. And, that's the number that we have charged in the past, that we had charged and that they had waived. A former mayor decided he was going to waive them. However, he didn't come to the council. He also didn't sign any of the documents that would allow those to be waived. Instead, the building director waived those fees, which I found kind of ironic, and I was not going to do it, and I haven't. But that's up to the council, and that's why we're here tonight. And, to me, and I'll catch you, Alderman Albertini, to me, I represent the city of Belvedere taxpayers, pure and simple. That's who elected me. That's my job. And there is nobody that put me into a position here to be responsible for our budget or fiscal responsibility except for city of Belvedere taxpayers. And in this case, it's up to the council to decide whether or not we waive fees that we've charged everybody else. So Alderman Albertini first, and then Alderman Peterson.
Thank you. Carl Johnson had his hand up. I was wondering if we could take a minute to listen to what he wants to ask.
Well, we're going to debate this amongst the council here.
Thank you.
Alderman Peterson, thank you.
I would just add that, these numbers didn't get invented out of whole cloth. These are historic numbers that we've been charging everybody from the Walmart Frozen Center and the General Mills Distribution Center. These are based on actual, historical numbers that have been produced. If we're gonna do this, if we're gonna have carve-outs for this one and carve-outs for that one for no reason, just because we don't like it or it's considered arbitrary, we probably would need to go back then and revisit it for everybody that comes through the door then. I just think, if we take it on faith that these were established on, on good precedent and good fact, I would say it's best to stay the course.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderwoman Gramkowski.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we all probably ran on lowering taxes for all of our residents in the city of Belvedere, but I also pulled some data today that says the median property tax in Boone County is $3,453 a year for a home worth a median value of $174,400. Also, Boone County has one of the highest median property taxes in the United States and is ranked 116th of the 3,143 counties in order of median property taxes. This is why.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Johnson, did you have anything? I know you had your hand up. Did you have anything you wanted to add? You can come up here if you like. Sure.
Just a couple of things I want to add. First of all, thank you for at least discussing this issue. It's a big issue. I get it. I understand that. It's a very hard issue to go through and talk about and figure out. One of the big things that I hear discussed is the cost to the city. And what does it cost the city to actually go out, do the inspections, review the plans, those kinds of things. One of the unique things we found in our investigations to try and figure out what do other communities do was looking just east of here at McHenry. And McHenry County built a great big facility. You've probably all seen it if you've driven by there. What's unique in McHenry is the city of McHenry doesn't do the inspections, doesn't do the plan review, doesn't do any of that. The county of McHenry does that themselves. Now, the dubious person would say, we're not going to let them do that because they're just going to cut every corner they can. However, we still have to follow the same rules and regulations as a county that you guys do. We've all adopted the same building codes, the international building codes. So we still follow those. And if we just think about it logically for a second, if we decided, hey, you know what, we don't need to put that extra railing on that stair or do that plumbing a certain way or put that fire suppression system in a certain way, if something bad happens and then it comes back and they start investigating, because insurance companies and investigators, they find all that stuff, and they find out that the county in some way cut corners in their building, that's going to make the county even more culpable and more responsible for anything bad that happens. So we're not going to do that. We're going to follow the building codes, the same building codes that you guys follow. The only difference that would be our people that we pay as a county, they're already in our budget, they're already doing work for us. We would pay for those people. They would do the inspections, and the city wouldn't have to sign off on any of that. It would be the county. Thus, that would eliminate any cost to the city, and the county would incur those direct costs of plan review, inspections, and so on. That's one way to resolve it, to help with that, if that's the true cost or the true concern as to what the cost to the taxpayers of the city are. And I understand that concept. I understand your concern for that, and you should be. But we're all one big community, one big county. And a large majority, we did the percentages, we looked at stuff, who uses of what, all that. A majority of the people in the city use the courthouse more than the people out in the county. That doesn't matter. We're not doing it for that. We're renovating the county courthouse because it desperately needs it. We have a roof that leaks constantly. We have 5-gallon buckets in the ceiling in every courtroom, multiple ones, to catch the drips. That's obnoxious for a community like this, in my opinion. We've fought that ceiling forever, but we've never, ever, ever had the money to be able to do a renovation, and certainly not a renovation of this magnitude. But because we received so much federal funding, because we've been fiscally responsible, we've finally attained a position that we can do it. We're just asking for your help to do this. The other thing I just want to make sure I clear up, there's been a lot of talk, excuse me, that the county asked immediately to waive these fees. We did not. Our administrator, Becky Tobin, emailed the building department asking, the question was, what would the cost for the building permit fee be for a $12 to $14 million project at the courthouse? The response we got was that because we are a taxing body, it was believed there would be no fee, and they would get back to us. We didn't hear another word until we came to get the permit, and we found out it was a $200,000 fee or $211,000 fee. That's why we're here today. Had we learned, however long ago it was, 10 months ago, there was a considerable fee, we would have approached this, talked about it long before now. So I apologize it got thrown onto you guys. But here we are today. We're hoping you'll help us come to a positive resolution on this. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Alderwoman Randall.
Thank you, Mayor. You said 12 to 15 million. Your letter states 25 million.
That's probably all our projects. I'm just talking about the courthouse, so with the 200,000, 200 plus that we've already paid for that permit. So we also have a $4 million project going on that's going to be going on at the health department. A pretty large project, Becky. I'm not sure, how much is the bus barn?
$3 million is the grant.
So that's $3 million. And the basement of the public safety building. So we have several projects that, because of this federal funding, we're able to try and revamp a lot of buildings that have needed it for a very, very long time.
Thank you. I appreciate that explanation, but I've also heard through Facebook, and I do not believe anything on Facebook, just
Sure.
to say, that we're going to get a $70,000 clock for the courthouse?
Sure.
Really?
Sure. So, pardon me. First of all, the clock that's going to be at the courthouse is not $70,000. It's in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, and we believe we have a donor for that. So if you want to look at a $12 million project, we have $40,000, $50,000 of fluff that we're getting a donor to pay for, a private donor. So other than that, we're talking new courtrooms, we're talking new hallways, we're talking new plumbing, we're talking fire suppression, we're talking a whole new face and expansion of the courthouse, we're talking the ability to put our public defender in the courthouse, we're talking about putting other facilities in there, expanding some facilities that desperately need it, putting in adequate bathrooms for juries and for judges, all those things, and ways to keep it secure. It's a huge project.
Alderman Peterson?
Just the private donor for the clock aside, it just seems like it's kind of thin in terms of offering immediate services to the public, who's the ultimate consumers. It looks like it's probably more about service to the bureaucracy. And as far as the city outsourcing the authority and responsibility that we have, I would just as soon not have that outsourced and have it not done properly, because if the county gets sued for any oversight or errors and omissions, we're still going to be on the hook for it as county taxpayers. So I would be opposed on that end also.
Alderman Albertini?
Thank you. Am I to understand also the Veterans Assistance Commission will be moving into this new facility?
The Veterans Assistance Commission will move into the facility at the administration campus when that's done. And that's, I think we just had the bids on that a month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. So that project would be coming up to begin soon.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alderman Peterson?
Mayor, I call the question.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor to reduce the permit fees for the project, $12 to $15 million project. The fees are from $211,000 to $50,000. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. And all those opposed?
No.
Nay.
All right, the noes have it. Thank you very much. All right, we dispensed of item B earlier in the meeting. Item C, acquisition of Lot 3, which is a development of the old Dodge Lanes. In your packet is a memo to you and me from City Attorney Mike Drella dated May 7, 2025, regarding the acquisition of the lot at MH Subdivision. City Attorney, I'll let you talk about that, because I know it's going to lead to questions.
Actually, it's probably a better Brent question, but in short, as you know, Dodge Lanes is being sold. And it's being developed into 3 separate parcels. Brent, correct me when I go wrong on this, or Gina. 2 of them are hope to be fast food restaurants. The third one is basically stormwater retention, detention that's needed for the site. And I was not involved in these discussions, at least part of it, at least initially. The developer had hoped to be able to do some things with that Lot 3, but because of the amount of stormwater detention the site requires, because the new development now having to comply with the newer codes, it had to be all utilized for stormwater detention, at least at this point. It might be possible to do something with part of it in the future, but not at this point. So in conversation, my understanding is between the mayor's office, the developer, and the Public Works Department, it was contemplated that perhaps the city could take title to the stormwater retention detention pond after it's complete and after all the public works, public improvements are finished for future ownership and maintenance. That way you don't run into problems like you run into sometimes in Riverbend and Riverbend West, where the homeowners associations own a stormwater detention pond and they never maintain it. And we get 1,000 phone calls about why isn't the grass cut. So that'd be the city taking care of that lot, but again, after all the improvements are done. So that's what that contract does. This would typically be done through the plating process. Usually when you have a plat subdivision come across your desks, there'll be something in it that says hereby dedicated to the city of Belvedere. Usually it's roads, sometimes it's stormwater detention or retention, sometimes it's some other site that we might need for a well tower or something like that. Unfortunately, the plat was approved by this council before the realization was needed for the extensive detention work on Lot 3. So that's why you're seeing it come through as a contract instead, because the plat was already approved. So I don't know if Brent or Gina have anything further they want to add to that, or if I messed any of that up.
No, it's an accurate description. Basically, the amount of detention required for the two lots, the two other lots, takes up the enough of the third lot that left the third lot basically undevelopable by itself. However, going forward in the future, if anything were to happen in the corner or more improvements wanted to be made on the corner property, this third lot detention area, there could be additional work there done to allow future possible improvements to that corner lot that's not subject to this subdivision. So in that respect, it's best interest in the city for future use to have control of what is now a detention lot.
And with that being said, I'll read what was in the memo. The MH subdivision is the redevelopment of the old Dodge lanes. The property is being subdivided into 3 lots. 2 will be improved with restaurants. The third lot is designated for stormwater detention and retention. The administration recommends assisting with the redevelopment by accepting a dedication of Lot 3. This will allow the city to ensure that proper drainage for the subdivision is maintained in the future. And then attached is a draft agreement for the dedication of Lot 3 to the city. It does not require any cash outlay by the city for acquisition. It will be given to the city and requires construction of all improvements by the developer prior to acceptance of the dedication. Typically, these dedications are handled through the plat process. However, the plat was approved prior to consideration of the dedication. So the recommended motion would be a motion to authorize the acquisition of Lot 3 of the MH subdivision and to authorize a mayor to execute the attached contract for dedication and all documents necessary to facilitate acquisition of Lot 3 pursuant to the contract. So if I could have a motion to that effect, motion by Alderman Peterson, second by Alderman Hoynes, thank you. And keep in mind that, a lot of times developments do not want to have detention areas. And of course, it creates a problem when you have rainfall and you have that 100-year event, or which is about every 4 years, but when you have a significant event and people point to there was no detention here, why not? And since we are redeveloping what is really all bituminous now, that whole lot, it would only make sense that our subdivision code enforce the detention and retention. In this case, they own the property, they're going to dedicate it to us. They have to build the detention area to our subdivision code specs, and they will. And I think this is a good opportunity in the future if that, we obtain that third lot, part of that lot, a sizable part of that lot, may be, as Director Anderson said, developable by the business that is on the corner. So I think it's a win-win, but we certainly satisfy our flood control requirements that we have. I think that's wise. So we have a motion on the floor. If there's any other questions, we'll try and answer them, but that is the background. Alderman Stevens?
So the parking lot's gonna disappear and we're gonna end up digging a retention pond then for flooding. Great.
Yep, correct. That will satisfy our subdivision code, which, quite frankly, if we don't satisfy that, then why have it? So, okay. Any other questions? We'll try and answer them. Okay, hearing none, we have a motion on the floor then. If there are no other questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed? Motion passed, thank you. Item D. In your packet is a memo from Community Development Planner Gina Delrose dated May 21st, 2025, to the City Council and the clerk regarding Walmart Spark Good Grant. I'll read it real quick. Walmart offers 3 different ways to give back to the community through the Spark Good system. The City of Belvedere has previously been awarded grant funds to help with Heritage Days through the local facility giving program. The manager of the Belvedere Walmart spent months working closely with staff to get requests for funding submitted and approved. Due to the changes with the online system, instead of 3 different grants awarded to the city, the Belvedere Walmart awarded $5,000 to the Heritage Days account with instructions to split the Belvedere Police, the funds with the Belvedere Police Department and the Belvedere Fire Department. So the requested motion will be specifically this: motion to accept a $5,000 grant from Walmart and to transfer $3,000 from the Heritage Days line item to the Belvedere Police Department for the purchase of flock safety cameras, and to transfer $1,000 from the Heritage Days line item to the Belvedere Fire Department for the purchase of AHA materials and fees, CPR training materials, instructors, and support for the community CPR program. If I could have a motion to that effect, please. Motion by Alderman Hoynes, second by Alderman Stevens. Thank you both. Any questions, any comments regarding the motion on the floor? Alderman Fleury?
Thank you, Mayor. So I see we're getting 5,000, but splitting it 3,000 and 1,000. So does the other 1,000 just be held for a future project?
1,000 will remain in the Heritage Days account.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Alderman Peterson and then Alderman Stevens.
Just curiosity, Chief, what's the flock camera?
Flock cameras are those license plate reader cameras that access information that then gets passed on to law enforcement. Plus, we can do investigative work if we have an incident like at Walmart. We can go and research, either vehicle descriptions, makes, models, or license plate numbers if we have it, and try and identify who may be committing crimes.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, Alderman Stevens?
Well, that was my
answered it?
question.
All
And
right.
those were used to solve the robbery at the bank on State and Bypass, weren't they?
Chief?
Yes, that is correct. Last year, the council approved a grant in which 4 flock cameras were purchased and distributed throughout the city, which we've utilized for numerous incidents, including the bank robbery, which we successfully apprehended somebody.
Okay. Thank you both. Any other questions regarding the motion? Please feel free to ask. I do want to say that the manager out at Walmart, Tammy Taylor, has been a great partner, not only in this case, but Shop with a Cop and Firefighter. And they have been so helpful with making sure that the city of Belvedere, they are a great partner, and they are an active contributor to the city of Belvedere, and this is another example. I think in all fairness, I think this does help. It wasn't too long ago. I think that they were talking about people that were going to come to Walmart, and they were going to essentially, they were worried about them storming Walmart. And I think they recognize that public safety is everything in any community, and in this community with their business here, and not only for them, but also for residents, this would be a good investment. So I take my hat off to them. I think it is. So if there are any other questions, we'll try and answer them. All right, hearing none, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed? Motion passed, thank you. And in your packet, 6E, we have a memo dated May 13, 2025 from Director Brent Anderson regarding the 2025 MFT overlay bid tabulations. Director Anderson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Memo in your packet, we received one bid for our 2025 overlay program from Rock Road Companies in the amount of $908,714.46. Our estimate for this work was $1,008,996. Therefore, I would recommend approval of the low bid from Rock Road Companies in the amount of $908,714.46 for the 2025 MFT Street Overlay Program, subject to IDOT approval. This work will be paid for from MFT funds.
All right, if I could have a motion to that effect, please. Motion by Alderman Peterson, second by Alderman Stevens. Thank you both. Any questions on the memo and the motion? Feel free to ask. Alderman Peterson.
And Mayor, I just, Director Anderson, I just was surprised there was only one response. Were there quite a lot of bids sent out and just Rock Road responding?
William Charles is no longer in the resurfacing asphalt business. Current contracting doesn't have, no longer has facilities in this area for resurfacing, so it's pretty much down to Rock Road.
Think that hurt the bid price, or it is what it is?
I think the bid price is actually, I was surprised how reasonable it was, considering that the playing field has been, what Rock Road has available to it. So I'm quite pleased actually with this bid.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, any other questions? Feel free to ask. The bid is $100,000 less than what the engineer's estimate, but I don't know if competition in this case, it doesn't seem to have hurt it by any means, but it is what it is. Any other questions? Feel free to ask. All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion passed, thank you. And we have 6F in front of you again. A memo from Director Anderson dated 5/13 regarding 2025 MFT thermoplastic paving striping bid tabulations. Director Anderson.
Memo in your packet, we did receive 3 bids for our thermoplastic pavement striping contract for this year. The low bid being from Countryman Incorporated in the amount of $23,942.60. Our estimate for this, engineer's estimate for this work was $28,245. Therefore, I would recommend approval of the low bid from Countryman Inc. in the amount of $23,942.60 for the 2025 MFT thermoplastic pavement striping project, subject to IDOT approval. This work will be paid for from MFT funds.
All right, if I could have a motion to that effect. Motion by Alderwoman, Gramkowski, second by Alderman McGee. Thank you both. Any questions regarding the motion? Feel free. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed? Motion passed, thank you. And in your packet, 6G is a memo from Director Anderson, again dated 5/19/2025, regarding the wastewater treatment plant main building backflow device. Director Anderson.
Again, the memo in your packet, we've received 3 proposals for the installation of a 4-inch RPZ backflow device and water meter for the main equipment building at our wastewater treatment plant. This new connection will allow us to eliminate the non-potable water system that was damaged beyond repair by the flood last summer. The low proposal was from Nelson Carlson Mechanical Contractors in the amount of $15,734. I would recommend approval of their proposal for the installation of a 4-inch RPZ backflow device and the water meter, which will be provided by the city in the main equipment building at the wastewater treatment plant. This work will be paid for from the plant depreciation fund. And just a council update, we did receive last week our final payment from the insurance company for all of our claims from the flood and the backup resulting at the main equipment building.
All right, if I could have a motion to that effect. Motion by Alderman Peterson and a second by Alderman Stevens. Thank you both. Any questions regarding the motion on the floor? Feel free to ask. It's nice that we did receive payment from the insurer. Thank you. Thank you, Brent. All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed, motion passed. Thank you. We have item 6H, that being the 2025 sidewalk replacement program. In your packet was a memo from Director Anderson dated 5/20 of '25 regarding the 2025 sidewalk replacement program. As you may remember, we had went back out for bids. Director Anderson?
Yes, as you recall, we received one bid the first time around for our annual sidewalk program. Council rejected that bid, and we rebid the project. This time around, we did receive three bids back, the low bid being from Globe Construction in the amount of $195,950. Therefore, I would recommend approval of the low bid from Globe Construction in the amount of $195,950 for the city's annual sidewalk program. This work will be paid for from line item 015-310-6003 and line item 415-110-7900. Unit prices for this year, it's $12 a square foot for 4-inch remove and replace and $10 a square foot for 6-inch remove and replace. So it's a little bit cheaper on the 6-inch from last year, and it's $1 a square foot more than the 2024 price, but obviously a lot less than our original bid the initial time around.
Okay. If I could have a motion to that effect, please. Motion by Alderwoman Frank, second by Alderman Stevens. Thank you both. Any questions, any comments? The original bid was $442, right?
In that ballpark, yes.
440, 442. So yeah, $195,950. Yeah, it was well worth it. Any questions? Feel free to ask. Alderwoman Frank?
Thank you, Mayor. Director Anderson, can you tell us, when would you use the 4-inch versus the 6-inch?
So the 4-inch sidewalk covers your main sidewalk. The 6-inch is what we place across driveways.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Feel free to ask. Anybody? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. We have item 6I in front of you for purchase of a dump box, snowplow, and spreader for the Freightliner chassis. In your packet was a memo from Director Anderson dated 5/21/25 regarding that purchase of the dump box, snowplow, and spreader for the new Freightliner chassis that we had purchased. Director Anderson?
Memo in your packet, our current water department budget includes $275,000 in the capital line item for the purchase of a new 10-yard dump truck. The city council has already approved the purchase of a 2026 Freightliner chassis in the amount of $133,495. We contacted 4 vendors to outfit the new chassis with a dump box, snowplow, and salt spreader. We've received 2 proposals back, one from Monroe Truck Equipment in the amount of $103,678, and one from Henderson Products in the amount of $109,950. The build date for Monroe is October of 2026, which puts it in the 4th quarter. The build date for Henderson is either the 1st or 2nd quarter of 2026. I believe it would be in the best interest of the city to have this dump truck available 3 to 6 months sooner, and therefore I would recommend approval of the proposal from Henderson Products in the amount of $109,950 for the 10-yard dump box, snowplow, and salt spreader. This equipment will be paid for from water depreciation line item 611780, and with the total cost being $243,445.
Okay, if I could have a motion to that effect, please. Motion by Alderman Fleury, second by Alderman Peterson. Thank you both. Any questions, any comments? Feel free to ask. Alderman Peterson?
Mayor, a question for Director Anderson. Do you think Henderson Products would be agreeable to some kind of a date certain on that then, so that, a June delivery or something, or no?
Well, they indicated that they were certain it could, right now, would fall in at no later than the second quarter, and quite possibly could move up for first quarter. So that's why I tabled it as 3 to 6 months in advance. I would hope it'd be 6 months, and I would actually hope there's a lot of time between now and then, and other things could happen in their queue of build, and maybe we could even move up sooner. Monroe was pretty firm in their date of October of 2026 based on what they had lined up.
Thanks.
Any other questions regarding the motion on the floor? Feel free to ask. I think the reason that we have to keep in mind, the reason that we bought this truck was to be able to use it to plow snow. If we received this and we bought it at a time when obviously we hoped we would have it, in one case, we're probably not going to get it for the winter season, and that'll be certainly self-defeating as to the whole purpose that we bought it. So the price for that difference is about, what, $6,300, $282, I guess. So $272. So I guess that's the question. But any other questions regarding that? Feel free to ask. Okay. All right. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And if anybody's opposed, motion passed. Thank you. And then item J. Last but not least, in your packet is a memo, again dated 5/21/25 from Director Anderson regarding traffic signal repairs at the intersection of Appleton Road and Newburgh or Locust Street. Director Anderson.
The memo in your packet are traffic detector loops at the intersection of Appleton Road and Newburgh Locust have shorts and in the wiring, and they need to be replaced. We have received the following proposals to replace the detector loops with a camera detection system. The camera system is cheaper than detector loops and will eliminate future conflicts with utilities and road work in the intersection. I would recommend approval of the proposal from Helm Electric in the amount of $19,850 for the installation of a camera detection system at the intersection of Appleton Road and Newburgh Locust. This work will be paid for from Street Department line item 015-310-6024.
All right, that is obviously the low bidder. Could I have a motion to that effect, please? Motion by Alderman Stevens, second by Alderwoman Gramkowski. Thank you both. Any questions, any comments? Floor is open. Alderwoman Frank first, then Director Anderson.
Okay, thanks. I did talk to Director Anderson about this, and so I'm really happy that it's done because I've gotten a lot of calls about the delays. So thank you, Director Anderson.
Director?
My comment to that would be, yes, we have been getting a lot of calls. There's a lot of issues going on out there, off flash, on flash, working, not working. So with council's direction, I would like to be able to give the contractor the go-ahead, if it's approved here tonight, to go ahead and get that process going so we can at least get it hopefully 1 week sooner than waiting until next Monday.
Okay. If there's any objections to that, speak up. It is a low bid, but also all the calls that I've gotten, I've referred to Director Anderson, so. All right, if there are no other comments or questions, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed? All right, motion passed. And that is all we have on the agenda. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Motion by Alderwoman Gramkowski, second by Alderman Peterson. Thank you both. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody want to stay? For the record, we adjourned at 7:27 PM. Thank you, everybody, and have a good rest of your evening.